So apparently Christmas is over and people want to see my fluffy ears. Isn't that right, Happy Fox? But yeah, guys, obviously look at the end of the day. Yeah, I suppose Christmas is over, so I suppose I better lose the Santa hat. Don't worry, Fox, I'm just doing you. But guys, yeah, hope you like the goggles on my head. I don't know, it's just, let me know, do you want goggles or nothing? Just like fur. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Apart from that, guys, let's jump into the next video. So I have a little bit of a funny video to show. I suppose we want to call it funny. Yeah, Jordan Peterson was in New York just recently. I'm not sure of the actual date. I did find something from back early or mid-January. So I don't know if this clip is just starting to make the rounds now, or if it's actually, yeah, if it's something recent. But he was actually asked the Jewish question. You can see how this might have gone. Now, look, obviously, at the end of the day, guys, I do feel a little bit sorry for Jordan Peterson because especially at the moment, there is a lot of pressure on him. So I've got the video from him in New York trying to answer the question. I'll play that. We might stop it a little bit way through so I can go through and critique or whatever. But yeah, I also have a couple other videos I also want to use as well. So, guys, strap in, grab a drink, and let's roll it.
I have a book by Solzhenitsyn I'd like to get to. Thank you. It's 200 Years Together. Last year a couple started translating it into English and they put it online. I included all the chapters that they've translated so far. As a Jewish American, I think this book is very important for everyone to read. In the book, Solzhenitsyn documents the overrepresentation of Jewish individuals in the NKVD and in Bolshevik leadership. He claims that the ethnic hatred these individuals had for Christians played a role in the Holodomor. Jewish individuals had faced persecution in Ukraine prior to the Bolsheviks' rise to power. These individuals exacted their revenge on the Christian Ukrainian population. The result was the death of 4 million Christians. The line of good and evil cuts through the heart of every human. One cannot simply say a given ethnic group is evil. Every individual must struggle with the good and the evil in their own hearts. That being said, it is important to understand what motivates groups to commit atrocities against other groups, because the previous century has been filled with groups killing other groups. Like the Bolsheviks, Jewish individuals are overrepresented in the ownership and senior staffing.
Now, the interesting thing so far, guys, obviously he's just reading it out here, so he obviously has a printout version of that he's reading. But you can actually hear people start to boo as soon as he starts talking about the overrepresentation of the Jewish in the media. I thought that was a little interesting. But yeah, and you can already see Jordan Peterson's already sort of starting to get a little uncomfortable with where this question... He knows what's coming. He's starting to get a little uncomfortable with what's already about to be asked.
I've got a question. It'll take 1 second. So just like the Bolsheviks, Jewish individuals are overrepresented in the ownership and senior staffing of the U.S. news media. The news media also is inexplicably hostile towards Russia. If the current warmongering against Russian Christians is in any way motivated by the same ethnic hatred that motivated the Holodomor, we must face that truth honestly. So here's my question.
The fact of the matter is that this is actually a really good question. We see a lot of the US media going through and hyping up this whole Russia. It does make you wonder if there is some previous history there that actually goes through and is actually causing this hysteria around Russia. It is something that probably should be looked into, but yeah, moving on.
If Jewish individuals hated Christian Ukrainians enough to starve millions of them to death, could the same thing happen today? Could Jewish individuals use their position of power to seek out revenge against places like Europe and Russia that have a history of expelling Jews? Thank you again for your work.
And it's probably around this point that Jordan thought, oh shit. Look, I really do feel sorry for him, especially at the moment. There are a lot of eyes on him. A lot of people are looking at him himself. And this guy just wants to ask a question. And he's actually said, the guy asking the question, the student, I presume he's a student, has actually already said that he is actually Jewish American. So, you know, look, and you can hear the crowd booing and carrying on already. Like, it does make you wonder, even if, like, this question, the Jewish question, even he can't even ask it without people getting all offended.
Remember Rule 9, you know, it's like, maybe there's something here that you don't know about, you know? Yeah. And I am trying to just speak the truth. Okay.
First of all, I haven't read this book, and I do want to read the book, so thank you for giving me the book.
You're welcome.
I can't do it.
That's okay.
Now, Jordan has actually already been asked this question a few times, and he has sort of given a sort of loose, vague answer. I actually have got a bit of a footage here from him previously talking about this question, although he doesn't really answer the crux of the question. He does talk about it, so I'll play that now. It's about 3 minutes, so same thing with that.
Okay, all right, what the hell? Address the Jewish question. That's a hell of a thing to ask. So that's Jack Lintern, you know? I mean, really, that's a hell of a thing to ask. But I will say something about it, you know? And I've thought about this a lot. So there is evidence that Ashkenazi Jews, so those are Jews of European heritage, have IQs that are about 15 points higher than the population average. So that's a lot, 15 points. It's about the average difference between the typical high school student and the typical state college student. It's a lot. And one of the things that means is, so imagine there's two distributions and that they overlap, and that the Jewish one is the mean is 115, so the whole distribution is shifted to the right. What that means is that if you go up into the higher IQ strata, 130, 145, way the hell up there, that Jewish people are overwhelmingly overrepresented at the high end of the IQ distribution. Now, the price they pay for that is some increased propensity for neurological diseases that seems to be associated in some sense with that heightened IQ. Now, you know, the science on this isn't settled, but it's reasonably solid, you know, given the standards of such things. Okay, so Jews are going to be overrepresented at the high end of cognitively complex disciplines. So then I would say, and that's the case, like they're way overrepresented among like outstanding scientists and among Nobel Prize winners and so forth. And so, you know, people look and they think, well, why are there a disproportionate number of Jewish people in positions of authority? And they say, well, it must be a conspiracy. You know, it must be systemic in some sense. It's like, no, it can be simply accounted for by that relatively large IQ differential. Now, the next criticism would be, well, don't the Jews tend to lean left? Well, first you might say, well, you know, given what happened in Nazi Germany, to the degree that that was right wing, as we discussed earlier, that's the nationalism and ethnocentrism. It's hardly surprising that they might, you know, in this historical period of time, tend to move towards the left. But more importantly than that, IQ is associated with trait openness. And trait openness is a strong predictor of political liberalism. So, and it's the strongest predictor of political liberalism. So, you know, it's very difficult. So that's what I have to say about that. It's like, and the other thing I would say is, you know, the fact that there's a population, a subpopulation of people who are much smarter than average, not on average, right? On average, you got to get that straight. On average is actually of great benefit to the rest of us, because what do you want? Fewer geniuses? Fewer people with IQs of 145 or 160? That's, and you know, and it's no conspiracy that puts people who are smarter higher up in competence hierarchies, because IQ is the best predictor of movement up in a complex competence hierarchy. So there, I've addressed the Jewish question. It's like it's a confusion between ethnicity and IQ as far as I'm concerned. So I'll probably get like painted 6 different shades of black for that answer, but I've thought about it a long time. It's the best that I can manage. So
now, I actually ummed and ahed about actually putting this video in because I want to address something at the moment. Jordan Peterson has a lot of heat on him at the moment, and especially with the whole Channel 4 interview. There are a lot of articles that are going through at the moment trying to paint him as the Nazi, as a chauvinist, as a male sexist, just trying to discredit him. This is actually something he also talked about in a recent interview as well. He talked about surfing a 100-foot wave. He says that he's scared, I suppose, for a better word, that he's going to get dunked. And I actually have that clip, and I'll play that in a sec for you too.
Overwhelming likelihood, as far as I'm concerned, and it's been this way ever since September of 2016, is that this will go terribly wrong. That's the most likely outcome. I've known that ever since I made those videos.
What do you mean by that? How would it go wrong?
Oh, well, things go wrong all the time. You know, I say
No, but
something,
what are you afraid of?
saying something inappropriate.
Well, you've said lots of things that have made people angry.
That's not the same thing,
So why would you say something inappropriate?
because people make mistakes. And so, like, I've been in a situation, I would say, for 15 months, really, where I'm speaking publicly, and I've been in front of the news media a lot, and people are waiting. Well, they're waiting with things like this to say, look, well, you made a mistake here. It's like, yeah, well, I've done like 10,000 things in the last year, and maybe I made a mistake.
Did you?
Hard to say. I mean, I don't think that the discussion I had about Pepe, I don't regret that at all. When I put up on YouTube, that's the serious discussion. I think I understand what's going on with the Keck boys and with Pepe a hell of a lot better than the people do who are, you know, casual observers of it, because I've actually studied it. And so, no, I don't think I made a mistake. I think it's, no, I don't think I made a mistake, you know? So, and I think that that's the case mostly, as I said, because of all the feedback I'm getting from people who say, look, you straighten out my life. And so that's good enough. And I'm hoping that will continue. I think it's unlikely that it will continue in a positive direction, but you never know. It's too much, eh? That's the thing. It's been too much for a long time, but so far so good. And I'll write it out as well as I can. But I'm surfing a 100-foot wave, and generally what happens if you do that is that you drown.
That's interesting. It's been great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Nice to talk to you as well.
So you can see from that, you know, he's talking about, you know, he's afraid he's going to get dunked. He's actually seems like he's under a lot of pressure. And you got to remember that Jordan, he's just a professor. He wasn't brought up in the spotlight as far as I know or anything like that. So, you know, people handle it differently. And I still don't think he's real comfortable with being in the limelight. And there is a lot of pressure on him at the moment. You know, he makes a pretty good living off his Patreon and everything like that. But he's also taken some financial hits too, because of this whole Bill C-16. They actually talk about that in the video as well, in the full video. I'll put a link in that in the description below, so check that out. But yeah, he said there that he's surfing a 100-foot wave and he's waiting to get dumped. You know, yeah. So I can sort of look, at the end of the day, I know everybody has a freedom of speech in America, and I know people went to see him, to pay to see him and everything like that. I know some people are going to turn around and say, well, he should have answered the question. To be honest, I can sort of give him a pass on that. Just especially at the moment, because he is so radioactive. He is so hot right now that people are like writing articles about him. And he even said in the interview there that, you know, that it's one slip up and it's gone. Everything's gone. It's just the carpet gets ripped from under your feet. So, look, I understand what people are going to say. They're going to say, look, he should have answered the question, you know, blah, 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 freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. Freedom of speech, fine, yeah. He should, yeah, he does have that. But he doesn't have freedom of consequences, and that's what I think he's worried about. So, look, should he have answered the question? Oh, maybe. But I can completely understand why he didn't. But look, guys, I don't know. Look, this is a real tough question, because this is where, you know, the left wins, so to speak. Because they can go through and they can get you fired from your job, or they can have you deplatformed through financial means. It sucks. It really does. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think Jordan Peterson should have answered the question, or do you think he was right not to? Did you understand what I'm saying with him being radioactive? Do you think it's a valid excuse? Let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.